Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Rafaat. This is Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. And I'm giving you some comments right now on the independent writing practice test number 5. And you've paid for the additional service to have all of your essays edited by me. So I'm going to correct all the grammar errors and even give you some more specific feedback on how you can improve the organization and the development of this essay. First of all, here's a question. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Teachers should be paid according to how much their students learn. Give specific reasons and examples to support your opinion. Now, I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and then you can compare, first of all, I'll say the original version, which is what you wrote, and then we have the edited version, which will be my corrections and my suggestions. So when you get to the end of the video, you can compare your essay, of course, with the changes that I've made, okay? Okay, so let's go to the beginning. So first of all, let me go through and take a look at each paragraph, and I'll try to give you comments accordingly. So it says, education process in every country can measure, which carries out the progress in being a mirror of culture. So we've got a lot of problems in here. First of all, I'm going to say the. Process is a singular noun. I'm going to put the education process in every country. You don't need a comma there. Why? Because the subject is process, can measure is your verb. I don't think you want to see which carry here, because which is an adjective clause connector, measure is a verb, so you need an object here. So you say the education process in every country can measure the progress I'm going to say can measure the progress of a culture. Then maybe say something like this. Maybe you could say this. I'm going to use a present participle in the beginning. Acting like a mirror to its society, the education process in every country can measure the progress of a culture. Teachers shouldn't be, I'm going to say dealt. Teachers shouldn't be dealt with as we deal with other workers in other fields. And you need to have a comma here or a semicolon. If you put a semicolon, you could do this and then say, consequently, they must not be paid according to how much your students learn. Then you have your reasons. We can give a point of view for the work according to. You don't need a semicolon or a colon here, because to, it's like a preposition. You don't want to separate the objects from the preposition, so no punctuation is needed here. We can give a point of view for the work according to, how about a standardized scale, their efforts, and the teacher's importance. Good use of the apostrophe, nice. Okay, now, the one thing that's bugging me a little bit here is you got to get into the mindset that when you're creating your topic sentences, Rafaat, they need to be argumentative and they need to connect back to the question. There is no standardized scale that can measure the education process. We cannot substitute teachers' effort or give the honor enough, or the children, or the education process concludes building equipment, teachers, and what you're doing here, the problem is your topic sentences are more facts. They're factual. They're not creating an argumentative tone. You need to make an assertion. I want you to look up this word in the dictionary. Check this out. This is really one of the big problems you're having right now. If you can get past this idea, it's this. See this word? Assertion. Look up in the dictionary, what is an assertion? This is what I want your topic sentences to do in the independent writing task. They need to make assertions about something. Basically, you make a claim, and then you defend that claim. So again, we're also talking about why teachers should not be paid according to how much their students learn, right? You see what I'm saying here? Say first, teachers should not be paid according to how much their students learn because there is no standardized scale. Then you need your adjective clause connector, maybe, that can measure, how about the effectiveness of the education process. Even though we can put some points on a general scale when evaluating teachers, maybe you might say, they do not mean that everything in education, how about that everything in the education process is easy to measure, especially teachers giving. See, this is what I'm not exactly sure what you mean by this word. Let's make this one word, not two. Especially teachers giving, especially teachers charity, especially teachers contributions. That, I'm not sure what to do there. I'm just going to leave it alone, but I don't think it's the right word for what you're trying to say here. Now, we cannot consider the teacher's work. I think you're talking about more than one, right? So let's do S apostrophe. We cannot consider the teacher's work, we'll put like other jobs, because their values are moral, not material. For example, their work is not a manufactured or I'll say it's not a manufactured or agricultural activity. That's probably how I would rewrite that idea right there. So still, it's that one word that I'm still not clear about, but I do like how you're trying to develop your ideas more. That's definitely a good sign. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. So here, you have second, we cannot substitute teacher's effort or give really the honor enough. May say money can never substitute, can never, how about be a substitute for the teacher's effort or show sufficient appreciation. Money can never be a substitute for the teacher's effort or show sufficient appreciation for all the work they do, which is yet another reason teachers' pay should not be based on work. You see what I'm doing here? You got to keep connecting back your topic sentences back to the purpose, and you need to make your topic sentences more assertions, not just facts. So I kind of rewrote your topic sentence to say, second, money can never be a substitute for the teacher's effort or show sufficient appreciation for all the work they do, which is yet another reason teachers' pay should not be based on student learning. The teacher is similar to the artist See, this grammatically, you're not sure how to say this, but because you're saying his work, I'm going to say whose work we can admire. That's the grammar that you're trying to use, but you don't know how to use. Let's look at it very closely. The teacher is similar to the artist whose work we can admire, but no words or even more salary express our gratitude and we're using teacher in the plural sense, so maybe it's better to change it here to the plural. Maybe say teachers are similar to the artist make this plural are similar to artists whose work we can admire, but no words or even more salary can express our gratitude for all the work they do. They should gain or give them enough respect And I think really you have to go back, you have to make the connections about the respect thing and how that relates to paying them according to how much the students learn. Basing teachers' pay on student learning would not give them the respect they deserve. Their weightings or expectations teachers ultimately will get their respect by seeing I'm going to say something like seeing their students succeed in society. Okay, so we got it so far. Okay, the last thing is the last reason. You might say the last, how about use a word like finally, the last reason why teachers' pay should not be based on how much their students learn because the education process includes, you want to say. Includes buildings. Equipment is a count noun, uncount noun, you don't want to put S on it. Includes buildings, equipment, students, and teachers. Maybe use a cause effect here. Therefore, we cannot make a comparison between teachers and other facilities. How about cannot make an How about accurate? We cannot make an accurate comparison between teachers and other facilities because simply, and this is good use of your comma here, because simply without teachers, I'd also put a comma here, we cannot take advantage of the education process. So the most important aspect in all the education process is, of course, the teacher. We must give them every care to give us a good future. So I don't get it. I really don't. Your argument, I'm going to be honest with you, it's very weak. There's no real cause-effect relationship between the reasons that you're giving, I think, in those body paragraphs that relate to why you think teachers' pay shouldn't be based on how much students learn. This final paragraph here, I don't really understand the argument you're trying to make. So I think it's incomplete. It's not really clear what you're trying to do with this argument. I mean, you say, therefore, we cannot make an accurate comparison between teachers and other facilities because simply without teachers, we cannot take advantage of the education process. So the most important aspect in all the education process is, of course, the teacher. We must give them every care to give us a good future. To sum up, no scale, no money, but respect must be given to the teachers. You might say that, but I'm not really sure what to do with this last paragraph. So maybe I think that you're saying that the education process includes more than just the teaching performance. So because teachers shouldn't be paid according to their students' learning, because students learn also because of the equipment. They learn maybe because of interactions with other students and also with the interaction with their teachers. So it's too complex. I think you're trying to say we shouldn't base teachers' pay on just student learning because it's too complex and there's no way to really accurately measure that, right? That's kind of, I think, what you're trying to say. So you're saying that we cannot make an accurate comparison between teachers and other facilities because simply without teachers, we cannot take full advantage of the education process. Let's see. We have to do something here to tie this back to the argument you're trying to make. In other words, you might say, student learning is more complex than just how much they learn from their teachers, since learning can also result from the equipment the facilities and even interaction with other students, and not just what they learn from their teachers. I think this is really what you really have to do something like this to help support what you're saying in the beginning. So you're saying, in other words, student learning is more complex than just how much, maybe it would be clear to say students, how much students learn from their teachers, since learning can also result from the equipment, the facilities, and even maybe be better here, from the facilities and even from the interaction with other students, and not just what they learn from their teachers. Okay, I think that'll probably work. I'm going to get rid of this. This idea doesn't really, I don't think it relates too much with what you're trying to do there. So to sum up, no scale, no money. To sum up, no scale, no money, how effective teachers are. So to sum up, no scale or no money should be used to judge how effective teachers are. Instead, teachers should be given respect. So this paragraph is a little bit short, but you're kind of trying to tie all the ideas together. Okay, now, I think we got it, though. I think we definitely have it now. I'm going to say what you've written here, I don't think you're going to do very well here. I'm going to give you 2.0 out of 5. I'm going to put you maybe 14 to 15 points out of 30 on this one. I think that the main thing is you don't really have a clear argument. Your argument is not very clear. It's not very convincing. The way that you structured this idea, I'm not really convinced. Based on the reasons and how you have developed your essay, I'm not convinced that a teacher's pay should not be based on student learning. I'm just being honest with you, right? So you have to put together a much more developed, a much more coherent, and easy to understand argument, I think, if you want to score higher on this type of essay. That's really your biggest issue. So now let's take a look at the edited version one more time. Acting like a mirror to its society, the education process in every country can measure the progress of a culture. Teachers shouldn't be dealt with as we deal with other workers in other fields. Consequently, they must not be paid according to how much their students learn. We can give a point of view for their work according to a standardized scale of their efforts and the teacher's importance. First, teachers should not be paid according to how much their students learn because there is no standardized scale that can measure the effectiveness of the education process. Even though we can put some points on a general scale when evaluating teachers, they do not mean that everything in the education process is easy to measure, especially teachers' giving. We cannot consider the teacher's work like other jobs because their values are moral, not material. For example, their work is not a manufactured or agricultural activity. Second, money can never be a substitute for the teacher's pay or show sufficient appreciation for all the work they do, which is yet another reason teachers' pay should not be based on student learning. Teachers are similar to artists whose work we can admire, but no words or even more salary can express our gratitude for all the work they do. It's probably a good idea to put a comma here right before the second independent clause. Basing teachers' pay should be on, not of, on student learning would not give them the respect they deserve. Teachers ultimately will get the respect by seeing their students succeed in society. So the last one, finally. The last reason why teachers' pay should not be based on how much your students learn is because the education process includes buildings, equipment, students, and teachers. Therefore, we cannot make an accurate comparison between teachers and other facilities because simply without teachers, we cannot take full advantage of the education process. In other words, student learning is more complex than just how much students learn from their teachers, since learning can also result from the equipment, from the facilities, and even from the interaction with other students, and not just what they learn from their teachers. To sum up, no scale or no money should be used to judge how effective teachers are. Instead, teachers should be given respect. All right, so there we go. So you can take a look at my edited version here. You can read this, and you can compare that with what you wrote here. Okay, so anyway, you're probably about 2.0 out of 5. The main thing, as I said before, you really don't have a clear argument in your essay. You haven't presented a very convincing argument as to why you think teachers' pay should not be based on how much your students learn. And keep up the good work.